of which there are almost 200 that I deal with annually here in the coal region as a support function. And I'm just glad because most of them could never get this many people out, even though they too have wonderful organizations.
And again, I'd like to congratulate and thank all the people that's involved here. It takes a group of people to pull that together. And as you know, over the years with racing around the county, and we've had a number of tracks and so forth, and it's good to keep those memories and some of the things that are continuing to go on, to keep that as a very important part of the history of Schuylkill County.
Mark Miller ventured from Kutztown, PA, and his first car resembled another Kutztown area legend, Freddie Adams, who drove an orange painted number 8 machine. Mark competed at Big Diamond Hall of Fame. Mark Miller. We have Kenny Brightville, come on up. Diamond track champion and won 16 feature races during his career at the Forestville track. His last win at Big Diamond happened in 2003 at the Georgie Stevenson Memorial. Kenny put together an incredible list of championships and feature wins. On the overall scale, he won 443 races at 42 different tracks. So please welcome into the Coal Region Racing Hall of Fame, Kenny Brightville.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here and with the group here, and thank you.
He was a drag racer and steered a Corvette in modified production and traveled to the East Coast to compete. Mike introduced the Scanning Machine Shop to his numerous customers. Building dirt track racing engines became his primary focus. He spent many years supporting the efforts of the area drivers with motors that he developed. Just a few racers that utilized his engines were Billy Schinkel, Dave Shellstock, Randy Masser, Doug Hoffman, Billy Pouch, Larry Graver, Scott Albert, and Mike Clay. Mike spent some seat time behind the wheel of a sprint car, racing primarily at Sealands Grove. So please welcome into the Coal Region Racing Hall of Fame, Mike Seguin.
I want to say thank you to everybody that voted for Mike, and I was so excited for him because he was a hard worker and just worked and worked and worked. Thank you, everyone.
At the age of 22, he ventured into the sport as a driver and steered a car owned by his uncle Clarence Spickelman. He finished in third place in both the qualifying heat and feature race at Hilltop Speedway in Myerstown. He also gained much success in the open wheel sprint cars. He ventured to Big Diamond when the track held races for the United Racing Club. While in his 80s, Leroy had the opportunity to steer one of his restored cars around the confines of Circle N. In total, he raced for over 40 seasons and enjoyed a long list of victories during his illustrious career. Please welcome into the Coal Region Racing Hall of Fame, Leroy Felty.
Thank you to Coal Region for recognizing Dad in an era that I can't remember, but I see in pictures, so thank you. The older, most current is what I remember, our family remembers, with him campaigning the 31 sprint car. And one evening in his 90th campaign, for his 90th birthday, he wanted to visit 4 of his tracks that he was at. And the one night he came in after hot laps and ended up 3 doors down from the hauler. So that should have been a light lit that can he see when he comes off the track after the light. But the one instance, he came in off the track, and of course, when they first went out, they had a push truck behind them with headlights on. And once you're on the track, he was fine with all the lights. But he pulled off the track, and we had flashlights that we were on the ramp of the hauler, and he came in and hit the cable and kind of sent us a little, tipsy. Wasn't giving that a thought. And then we proceeded to, it would be Dad, Mom, me, and my husband Chuck, or the crew, and we proceeded to winch the car to get it onto the trailer. A couple of times trying to adjust it to get it onto the ramp right, it just wasn't going in. And the gentleman 2 pits down who owned Dad's old jalopy came up and tapped Dad on the shoulder and pointed. We forgot to take the wing off the car. So I guess the sundowner syndrome was hitting all 4 of us at the time, and I said to Dad, I looked in his eyes and I said, Dad, it's time. And he realized, yes, it's time. Although that helmet there, he asked if he could open that. And I said, well, yeah, it's not sealed. He said, I might have a ride at Latimer Valley. I said, no, you're not getting it out. It still has the dirt on it from Williams Grove. So at that point, he basically accepted that he retired. There's only one other thing that I want to say to all of you. Mom and Dad died April the 30th, 2023, of carbon monoxide poisoning. And if you don't have a carbon monoxide detector in your home, please get one. Thank you.
Next inductee is Galen Kohler. Galen, come on up. Galen has also been a starter at national racing organizations at various racetracks that ran USAC sprints, midgets, URC sprints, ARTC midgets, mod cars, modified cars, and motorcycles. Galen flagged over 13,000 races in the coal region and surrounding areas, including 1980 assistant starter at Big Diamond. 81 to 85 he was the starter at Big Diamond. 89 to 2007 starter at Big Diamond Raceway, and 2013 and 2022 was the starter at Circle and Speedway reunions. So please welcome into the Coal Region Racing Hall of Fame, Galen Kohler.
Thanks to the Coal Regions Racing Association. It's an honor when you receive something like this, and when you think back to everything that you did over the years, it makes it worthwhile that you stuck it out for so many years. This is the first year that I'm not in the starter stand since 1968, so I guess you could say I retired, I don't know. So time will tell.
Won a couple of heat races there in that 72 car, which was just the start of much more success to come. Roy found a successful path on the asphalt tracks. He won the 1974 late model track championship at Mahoning Valley. He also won races at Dorney Park and decided to move up into the small blocks as the 70s progressed. Roy won a feature at the Reading Fairgrounds in 1975 and later started competing on both the pavement tracks and Big Diamond with the same car with just different tires. He won the 1977 Evergreen Raceway Track Championship with his trusty Vega wagon body car. He drove that same machine at tracks such as Grandview, Penn National. When he won that last feature, it started raining and he had to nurse the car to the winner's circle during the race's final laps. Roy's dirt career was capped off with a small block modified championship at the Susquehanna Speedway. Please welcome into the Cole Region Racing Hall of Fame, Roy Kunkel. Dick Mayberry's going to accept the award for him. Phil Long started going to the Reading Fairgrounds as a young boy with his father in '68 and attended every race at Reading until the last race in '79. Beginning in '77, Phil began helping fellow Hall of Famer Aaron Brummer with his modified. Phil, in 1978, sold his car to purchase Marty Lookinville's Camaro late model without his parents' knowledge, and with the help of fellow Hall of Famer Rick Hendricks, who hid the car behind a friend's barn. Phil made an agreement with Bill Nye to sell the late model and purchase a modified. In October of 1978, they purchased Tommy Long's 1975 Tobias car. Phil continued to work on the car and attend races as a member of Brummer's pit crew until he finished his car in early 1980. In April of '80, Phil raced for the first time at Penn National season opener. He raced that first season at both Big Diamond. He was top 10 in tour points and Big Diamond Super Sportsman champion. From '87 to '89, Phil raced and was competitive. In '89, he raced his first URC sprint car race in Quebec, Canada, and won his heat. In 1990, he raced for several different owners, and in '91, raced several times for Hal Bittner. Phil, in late '91, noticed weakness in his legs and was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy. He drove a few times between '92 and '95 before retiring from driving, having won 7 features as a driver and 6 features as a car owner in the Super Sportsman division. Beginning in 2000, even though Phil has some physical limitations, he now wrenches and consults on sprint cars for multiple drivers and owners and continues to win, including the 2005 Port Royal Speedway Labor Day Classic, with winning with car owner Charlie Sorokas. In 2017, 18, 2020, 2021, 2023, and 24, he was the sprint car champion winning crew chief for AJ Fick. So let's welcome into the Cole Region Hall of Fame, Phil Long. Our next inductee is Leroy Martin. Leroy Martin started his racing career in 1975, driving dune buggy race cars known as VW Sprints. He competed at Fredericksburg and Anthracite in '75 and won a couple of features. Both tracks closed after the '75 season, and he was looking for a new track to attend with the VW number 66 on the car. Leroy raced mini stocks at different tracks, and then Big Diamond Raceway added a new division and the VW Sprints to their weekly card in '77. He constantly finished up front and earned 3 feature wins along the way that season that the VWs competed at the track. He built his VW sprint cars by himself and with no full-time pit crew or sponsors. Leroy moved into the faster Super Sportsman cars in 1982 at their home track of Silver Spring. When the tour headed out to various tracks, he was back at Big Diamond racing the Victory Circle once again in 1989 and 1990. All of Leroy's victories were attained on Big Diamond's 1/3 mile oval layout. Leroy enjoyed a successful career in Super Sportsman and competed for many years, earning a handful of feature wins along the way. He finished runner-up twice in the biggest race of each season, the Sportsman 100. Leroy was well represented by fans and his fellow competitors. He would bring soft pretzels out to the track each week to share with his racing families. So please welcome into the Cole Region Hall of Fame, Leroy Martin.
I just want to say thanks and for everybody that came here today. I sure appreciate being honored this way, and it was a lot of fun racing that Big Diamond.
Our next inductee is Rick Schaefer. Rick couldn't make it today. Rick Schaefer started racing small block modifieds in 1978. His car was number 73. He quickly figured Grandview Speedway out and captured 2 feature wins there his rookie year. After some impressive finishes at Big Diamond, he broke into the winner's circle there for the first time in '82. His diamond win total was 12, and the last victory was achieved in '94 before the Speedway had been enlarged. Rick drove his uncle Pete Damiani's number 77 to a huge victory in the 12th annual Coal Cracker 50 at Big Diamond in '91. Races at the track for various car owners, such as Pete Damiani, Earl Hansel, and Schaefer, among others. He started his Big Diamond career in a 73 car and raced the final years of his career in a 73 machine, also 6 Junior, for Coal Region Racing Hall of Fame member Fran Purcell. So let's welcome into the Coal Region Racing Hall of Fame, Rick Schaefer. Next up is Charlie Sorokosh. Charlie Sorokosh worked in an underground mine along with his father until '85. They went to Big Diamond Raceway together, and Charlie soon decided that he wanted to pursue a career in racing. Charlie and his cousin Ed Sorokosh put a Chevelle body car together. He was 21 years old, and that's where his first street stock car number came from. When he took over the ownership, he changed the car number to 35, which was his father's lucky number. Charlie quickly found success and enjoyed 6 consecutive winning seasons at Big Diamond, including 2 track championships and 22 career feature wins. He also earned 4 main events at Penn National. Charlie switched over to the traveling winged Super Sportsman Tour, where he raced primarily at the now closed Silver Spring Speedway, and a few visits to Big Diamond. After 5 decades, Sorokosh Motorsports continues to thrive in the sport of dirt track racing. Please welcome into the Coal Region Racing Hall of Fame, Charlie Sorokosh.
Charlie was one tough racer. I'll tell you, he had a real problem with teeth. One time I trunked him at Grandview. Next thing I know, I was spitting 2 teeth out when he hit me. We were standing in the payoff line one time, and there was a guy laying on the ground missing teeth. That was Charlie. But at the banquet that year, my mother handed him a pair of dentures. And it's an honor, too, for Charlie to be in here. And I only remember one of his sponsors. It was Mike Saganix with his engines, because they chased him all the time. I had the great honor before Mike passed away to sit with him and Jeff Quandell and had a very good time. I really enjoyed myself, and I said, Mike, I always felt you hated me. And he said, Mike, we didn't hate you. You were on the wrong side of 61. You were the enemy. Thank you for all the good times, Coal Region Racing.
Thanks, Mike. We could get Leo Kalenic to come forward, please. The race was at Circle M racetrack, and Leo was hooked. Leo got his first chance to be a mechanic at age 11 when Ears bought his own car. For the next decade, he learned how to build the cars, work on engines, and eventually learned how to crew for Mr. Mayberry. They competed at Gold Mine Raceway, Anthracite, Hilltop, Fort Lebanon, Nazareth, Reading, Wind Gap, Circle M, Evergreen, Silver Spring, and Mahoning Valley. In 1963, Bud Moser, Eddie D, and Leo began BEL Body Shop, which over the years built and or painted cars for many drivers and teams. In 1965, they built the first of their cars, the 707 Bunny car, for Eddie to drive. His first car at Reading was a 707 for drivers Fran Purcell and later Eddie D, which they raced in Reading, Hatfield, Nazareth, Harmony, New Jersey. This car was followed by many modifieds for fellow Hall of Famer Eddie D and Hal Lord, which they raced at Boyertown and Reading. Also, he worked on tracks. At Big Diamond, he helped build the 318 for Eddie D and the number 74 for Drew Drabitko, where he met his wife Sharon. Leo said that he had to add this. Over the years, he built, painted, and worked on cars for many of the early names in local racing, like Clarence Liddell at Shanetown and Goldmine, and Kenny Harris, Charlie Bubeck, and many more. In the last few years, he has ended his retirement from racing by switching to the drag races at Numidia with Charlie Snookus and Jim Spees, where he aids the team with technical advice, like how much ice they need for the cooler, and shares racing stories about back in the good old days. Leo Kalenic into the Coal Region Racing Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much. I want to thank particularly Michael Clay and all of the members of the Coal Region Racing Hall of Fame for electing me into this fine organization. And I'm proud to say that I did work with many other drivers, but particularly Hall of Fame driver Hal Lord, Jerry Frank, who were both dear to my heart, and especially Eddie D, who was my business partner for many years. And Dickie Mayberry and his dad, and Dick Mayberry and I have been friends for over 7 years, and I hope our friendship still continues. Thank you very much, everybody. And thank you.
If I could have Lindsay and Shane Frank come forward, please, and also Lee Redding. He went to Anthracite Speedway to see him race. That started his life in racing. He worked on Tom's car from 72 to 75. He continued to attend racing, and in 1980, he purchased his first video camera and recorded one night at Big Diamond and Penn National. Lee was the first one to video a full year of racing at Grandview in 1981. Also that year, he joined as a crew member on the Dennis Summers race team from 81 till 85. He recorded some big races during those years. He also drove in the slide stock class at Big Diamond in 84 and 85. In 1982 to 87, he worked as a TV coordinator at Pocono Raceway, and on weekends working with TV networks such as TNN, ESPN, and NBC Sports. He also recorded events that were not covered by the TV network. Lee, in 1985, started Lee's Racing Video. He was one of the first to do voiceovers on video. He had announcers such as Bruce Boyer, Mike Hallman, Frank Burke, and Jeff Ilm. He recorded races at Big Diamond Raceway through the years of 1980 through 1995. Penn National Speedway from 1985 through 84, and Silver Spring Speedway from 87 to 94. In 1995, he was one of the co-founding members of Coal Region Racing. He still keeps looking through the camera, recording all of Coal Region Racing events, and he is always working to save the history of Coal Region Racing. And I've got to say, it was my pleasure to work with Lee for all those years, and nobody works harder in the Coal Region than Lee does. So let's give Lee a nice round of applause. Welcome to Coal Region Racing Hall of Fame.
I would like to thank my mom and dad for taking me to the races before I was able to drive. I would like to thank all the car owners and drivers for doing what they did that caused me to join the racing family. Thanks to Tom Wiley and Dennis Summers for letting me be a big crew member on their car. Next, I want to thank all of the racetrack owners and PR people that gave me the permission to video the races. I want to thank Bruce Boyer, Mike Coleman, Frank Burke, who are here today and made my videos come to life. Also, Jeff Allman, who asked me if he could try announcing races. I did, and he is now the voice of the Short Track Super Series and the voice of the Grandview Speedway Saturday night. My last thank you is to my wife, Atlanta, who passed away this time last year, who was not a dirt track fan when we met, but became one. She was very supportive of my work with Coal Region Racing, knowing what we are doing to save the history of Coal Region. I know she's looking down and smiling. And last, this is the first for me because this is the first time I've been on the other side of the camera holding a mic. Thank you for everyone for coming today.
Very frank. We knew them as Nana and Pop Pop. Admittedly, I never got very into racing, but I loved hearing my dad tell stories about his time growing up with the sport and hearing about my grandparents' lives before I got to know them. While it's sad that I can no longer hear these stories from them, I'm so glad that you all are here still telling those stories and sharing this award in their memory. I met this year's Peg and Jerry Frank Media inductee Lee when I went to pick up our tickets for today. We had over an hour of time chatting where it felt like I was talking to someone I'd known forever because he knew my family and had shared so many kind stories about them. So I'm honored to be here to present this award in memory of my grandparents to Lee. Thank you.
I'd like to take the time on behalf of Coal Region for everybody who came out today. We appreciate everything you do for us, and thank you for all the support through the years. Everybody, please enjoy the rest of your day. Be careful going home, and thank you for coming out.